And welcome back, everybody. It has been far too long since the last Sentimiento Latino. As welcome everyone to Sentimiento Latino number 124. I'm of course your host, Light VIP, and with me, I'm joined by my lovely plushies in Jersey here to my right. As I'll be later joined by Ducklings. Ducklings will be joining me for the semifinals and finals, but for the time being, I will be a little bit alone. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. I also want to apologize for the delayed start of the tournament. I know that, usually the countdown timer is 10 past the hour, and we're getting close to walkover time. Feels bad, man. So hopefully we can get into a series soon. Our players, I believe, are here. I believe they are conducting their vetoes, so it shouldn't be too long. And I'm excited. I am incredibly excited. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you want to have a look at the bracket, because I feel like I've been saying this every single week, whether it's Goodbye Period or Sentimiento Latino, our weekly consistent Latin American tournaments, is that every single time we have old players coming back, and it's exciting. I haven't seen, for example, one of the players that we're casting today, SoldieR. I haven't seen SoldieR in 6+ months. No, more than 6 months at this point. It's been a very long time, maybe a year. It's been I thought he was just gone. But SoldieR, he's a much more, I say old school, I don't think he's an old player. He's just, been around for a very long time, and I got so excited to see him not just back, but he just got picked up as well. You can see he's also on Infernales, so they brought him back. He's a Chilean Terran player. I remember SoldieR, I remember casting him in the very first Rebirth tournament with Yoda Slim. The very first one. So yeah, it's great to see him return after a long time. Is he going to stick around and stay? I hope so. ESL Pro Tour, DreamHack Summer, it's kind of around the corner. It's still a couple of months away. But again, it's something that I'm sure a lot of these players are keeping an eye on. That's why they're slowly coming back. The hiatus is done. The Christmas and New Year holidays are coming to an end. We're getting back into the swing of things. We're stopping the partying. We're stopping the drinking. Some of us are just starting. Shaking my head, Chaos Fate. Shaking my head. Oh god. But yeah, like, because of that, it's exciting times, especially if you're a Latin American fan. Oh boy. As we are getting set up here, lobby has been made. Finally, I was really concerned that we weren't gonna have this. Jugadores listo. What is it? Okay. GLHF. I have the power. The game has started, and we are diving into our first series of the day. Some players that we see every single week in these tournaments, and some that are returning after a very, very long hiatus. So good to see. Speaking of the bracket, it's also a pretty juicy one at that. I think we almost have a full round of 32. So plenty of players have rocked up. I think we have like 28 players or something like that. So very exciting to see. We have a lot of our regulars. Eggs was our finalist last week for Goodbye Period. It was Eggs and Paco Mike. Unfortunately, if you're a Paco Mike fan, bit of a feels bad, man. I do not see Paco Mike here. So Protoss representation today is looking pretty low. There's no Paco Mike. There's no Shaq-D. There is only one big Protoss name in the bracket, and that is Zion's. So, oh boy. But speaking of Protoss, we have another Protoss right here, right now, hailing from the land of Argentina. We have the best Protoss in all of Argentina. He is blue, he is Protoss, he is Elegacy. And spawning In the bottom left-hand corner of Glittering Ashes LE, we have the returning player himself, coming back after a very long hiatus, and now on a brand new team on Infernales Esports, one of the best teams in all of Latin America. It's the Chilean Terran. It is SoldieR. Again, a name I haven't uttered in a very long time. Oh my god. It's great to have him back. I'm also a little bit concerned because he hasn't been back for a very long time. And something that is a little bit telling about that is that during the veto process, I was talking to the players. I was like, yo, you know, we want to cast you guys for the first round. They were very excited. And SoldieR was like, hey, can you tell me what maps are in the map pool? He's like, we gotta do vetoes, right? I'm like, yeah, you gotta do vetoes. Like, what are the maps? So SoldieR himself wasn't too familiar with the maps, so it goes to show that I'm sure he has been laddering. He is now ranked. I think he's Masters 1 at the moment, but he's still not 100% familiar with the current map pool. So that's a little bit of feels bad, man. It's a little bit worrisome. Obviously, StarCraft can sometimes be like riding a bike. It doesn't take too long to get back into the swing of things and get back to your level. But again, when you haven't played the game competitively for a year, it can be a little bit rough sometimes. So yeah, hopefully he can kind of get a grasp of things. We already see him being a little bit safe here, checking his bases. What's interesting is that there's a couple of things that just happened. Oh my god. I was going to say that he skipped his Reaper, so he's playing things very safe. He's utilizing his Marines to scout. But at the same time, Elegacy actually went for a Zealot first. We see why. I imagine he was hoping to avoid the Reaper and delay the CC, but unfortunately for Elegacy, he was kind of in a way hard countered. There were already Marines here at home, and SoldieR was able to defend beautifully. I say kind of hard countered because it is very abnormal to finish that Zealot and to send it across the map. So Elegacy also approaching this in a very unique way, which is kind of Elegacy's way of doing things. If you're familiar with him, we've casted him in our amateur tournaments and even in these weekly tournaments. He's not the strongest player, but he's a very consistent player, and he kind of has his own style. Like, he does his own thing. Sometimes there's no real good reason for it. He just does it, and hey, sometimes it works as well. So I think this is a great way to test SoldieR, to kind of gauge what his skill level is looking like right now. I'm sure everyone in Latin America is more than happy to welcome back some more Terran players. Terran is something that we haven't had too much of. Last year we did have the appearance of Tavo and Neo, the two Terran Peruvian brothers, and they did kind of like make a splash, which is great, but other than them, we haven't had, again, too many new names show up. So it's cool to bolster that pool of players a little bit here. As so far, again, everything is pretty standard. We had a bit of a 1-1 opener, third CC before starport, so very macro oriented. What's important though is that Elegacy hasn't seen this. Because of all the Marines he scouted, it could have been a 3-Rex opener. He did see a tank, I believe, with a shade, so he knows it's a 1-1 at least. Now the army is moving out, and again, Elegacy, what's important is that he doesn't know about the third CC. He doesn't know how committed this push is going to be. As the Marines are pushing out across the map, at least this will be scouted. The observer even confirms the army. We see a distinct lack of Raven, of Medevac, so Elegacy shouldn't be feeling too scared. Like, this is a very powerful push, but it doesn't have stim. It's vanilla Marines, so with good enough micro, Elegacy, he's not even afraid. He's not even scared. With a handful of Stalkers, he forces a siege, and it's going to be so difficult for SoldieR to push up this ramp. Impossible even. So it's a bit of a feels bad, man. Again, I'm sure SoldieR would have loved to have pushed forward and denied this third base. He is leapfrogging his tanks, but again, pushing up this ramp isn't gonna happen. I love the spread here, the concave. Elegacy's gonna collapse on this army. All the Marines are gonna go down, and now with the help of this Immortal, so will the tanks. Elegacy cleans up this push, and that was a very costly push from SoldieR. The Marines, whatever, right? What, 5, 6 Marines died, 8 Marines even, doesn't matter. But 2 tanks? 2 tanks? That's significant. ideally you want to save these tanks, you want to keep them alive, and then later on go for like a 3-4 tank push with Stim, as Stim is about to finish up. Without these tanks, now suddenly SoldieR's army is weaker, and now Elegacy, he is free to probe up. There's nothing to worry about now. Like any kind of push here at the third, it's not going to do anything. God, as Elegacy is now pushing out across map. Meanwhile, massive shout out to Toppin in the chat. Toppin, of course, the rider for La Espina. As all this is happening, though, we do see Elegacy pushing on forward, being a little bit overly aggressive. I do think this is a little bit unnecessary. I understand the need or the feeling to get some damage done, but he may end up losing a little bit too much here. As Stim has completed, the Marines are stimming on forward, and Elegacy throws away his advantage. After killing 2 tanks essentially for free, he throws away Stalkers, which isn't the biggest of deals, but he throws away his Immortal. Oh, Elegacy, papi. I understand that, especially after you win a fight, the urge to counterattack is there, especially if you're a little bit of an inexperienced player, you know, which Elegacy is. The urge is there. You're like, yo, I just killed 2 tanks. He's not gonna have much at home to defend, right? Let's go. And he wasn't wrong, but unfortunately, Elegacy, he didn't have a War Prism he couldn't reinforce. Like, he couldn't really capitalize on his aggression. He dealt a little bit of damage, but yeah, it just was less than ideal. Meanwhile, an army is moving out. Elegacy sees that the 4th is on the way, but he doesn't see the army. Unfortunately, this observer is only just now getting in position. And in comes the triple drop. Just like that, workers are falling. No, the Immortal! Oh. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Charge isn't done, which means that this army can micro for days. We stutter step backwards. It's all good. The control is there. And SoldieR is going to make short work of this. Charge, it's not going to finish in time. We do have a Colossus, and that could be enough, but oh god, please don't lose the Immortal. Oh god. It's so close. Overcharge doing its best to keep the Immortal alive, and it does barely survive. Elegacy defends, but again, losing a lot of his army, some lost mining time. At least Elegacy was able to get a 4th base up and running though. Like, his macro is not looking too bad. He's down in workers, but not by too much. 10, which is a decent amount, but not by too much. As SoldieR lands his 4th base on location. I love it. He's switching into Liberators, switching into Ghosts, exactly what you need. Ghosts to help deal with those Zealots, Liberators to help zone out those Colossus. So his army composition overall is looking really good. The tank count is finally getting decent. Looking at the units, we have 3 tanks now. That's okay. It's not amazing, but it's acceptable. It's better than 2. But like, this is the thing. Imagine if these 3 tanks were 5. 5 tanks, mate, you could push out and you could end the game. Now it's not looking so certain. I mean, SoldieR is up by a lot in supply, but with Colossus in a good position, with Overcharge behind it as well, Elegacy, it's still possible for him to defend, depending on the positioning. As SoldieR, yo, he goes for the triple scan. He's trying to look for the army. He misses the army completely. Oh my god. Elegacy with the flank. Oh, he is going to try and engage with the army. Oh my god, the Liberators aren't here at all. Finally, we see a siege though. And where is that shield battery? He finally backs up to the safety of that. Oh my god, the Nova actually connects. The flanking Nova comes in. The Bio army is falling. Oh my god, but the Colossus. The Marauders are trying desperately to focus it down. It looks like they will get one. Where is the overcharge? We need the overcharge. It's all good. In the end, it just wasn't enough. You know why? Because there was a double drop here on the left-hand side, instead hitting that 3rd base. It looks like a Warped and Zealots is going to keep that alive, but at the same time, this tank push is finding some damage. Oh my god. Oh, the Liberators were actually sieged up in between the bases, and they're actually dealing some damage. They're actually catching some reinforcements. It looks like with these reinforcements of Zealots, I don't think it's going to be enough. The rally is just too good. There's just too much bio here. At the same time, that drop from the 3rd base went all the way into the natural. 17 workers have gone down. Disruptors are coming out, but again, it's a little bit too late. Oh my god. I feel like if everything had been focused on this one frontal push, Elegacy probably would have been able to hold. But because of the double drop, like because of the chaos happening at the 3rd and the natural, I do think that his attention will spread a little bit thin, and It wasn't going to be enough. Another Nova goes off, but only gets a single Marauder. Only one. And what's terrifying is that behind this, like, SoldieR, he just killed a base. He killed an entire mineral line. More than a mineral line. Behind this SoldieR, he's on 4 bases. He's fully saturated. He's getting a 5th base. Like, he has the economy to just keep rallying across the map. The production line is coming, and Elegacy barely has anything left. He has a single Disruptor. Disruptor gets focused down. He's got some gateway units, and it's not going to be enough. GG gets called, and SoldieR takes game number 1. Ah. GG. Also, again, massive shout out to Topin for the sub. Gracias, Topin, gracias. If you're wondering who he is part of La Espida. La Espida is kind of like Team Liquid, but for Latin America. I know La Espida hasn't been the most active these past couple of months, but Topin is still there. Topin is still making some lovely content for the people, for the community. So if you do speak Spanish, check it out. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good website. I also want to remind people that !Macherino doesn't work for this tournament. Sentimiento Latino does not have a Macherino page. Feels bad, man. So there's no way to directly support the tournament itself anymore. It's something that they used to have, but Macherino have changed their kind of reward program, and they don't have Macherino codes for partners anymore. They do only if your tournament is over a certain baseline prize pool, like $1,000 or something like that. So coupon codes are reserved for the big tournaments with big prize pools, not so much for these smaller weekly tournaments. So because of that, OSC, they did kind of decide to switch things up, and yeah, no Macherino anymore. Feels bad. Feels bad. We still use Macherino, but the OSC events, they do not. Oof. Oh. Ay. I see I see Fernandoc in the chat. Oh god, I just realized Kuro redeemed an Enya intro. Ay. God, what is wrong with you, Kuro? What is an Enya intro? That is a Spanish intro. So we will be doing a Spanish intro later on in the broadcast. You know what? I'm gonna write this down. Otherwise I'm gonna forget. Okay. Spanish intro. Okay. We have 1 Spanish intro redeemed. I'm probably gonna save it for Ducklings because in the semifinals, Ducklings is gonna come in, and I do think it'll be fun if we both come together and he can critique my awful Spanish. But he can have a little bit of fun with his. We can have a proper profesional Enya intro con el Ducklings, con el padrino de StarCraft. So we'll save it for then. So it'll be a while from now because we're still in round 1 of the tournament, but we'll get there. So look forward to it. But yes, we do have a bunch of other intros, or a bunch of different points available now. Point rewards, I should say. We introduced a bunch of intros. There's like the Enya intro. There's the Ryan intro, which is an Aussie intro. There's an ASMR intro. And we did a couple of other things as well, I believe. We're trying out some different things to make channel points a little bit more enticing for people. I know for a long time the only thing we really had was a Spanish intro and Kuro Please to get Kuro on. But because Kuro had, like, these tournaments aren't at the best time for Kuro, she hasn't been available to cast, so she's been going to bench. So because of that, we just haven't had a lot of reasons to spend points. So we were aware of people banking up a lot of points and not really having anything to spend it on. So now we're working on that. Right, you're gonna get it. I see you in the chat, Kuro. You'll get it. It's coming soon, TM. As we get ready for game number 2. Meanwhile, we've had a couple of other updates in the chat, nothing too substantial. The biggest thing right now, if you look at the shaking my head. Oh god. Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head. All right. Just asking if the players are ready before we dive in. Beautiful. So, I don't know if you noticed, but on challenge, it is announced that SoldieR moved on in the bracket. That is not true. I think they... It is a 1-0 currently, but he accidentally like confirmed the score. So hopefully Darking can fix that up for us before we get into, or before we get into game 2. Here we go. Oh my god. And game number 2 is gonna be here on Berlingrad. LE, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Berlingrad, we have our Argentinian Protoss player, Argentina, representing Team Uwu. I believe it's, what is it, Oscillatory Universe. What a name. Oscillatory Universe. It is Elegacy. The best Protoss in all of Argentina, and spawning in the top left hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have the Chilean Terran player, the returning veteran representing Infernales Esports. It is SoldieR. He's a man of the people, ready to give his life. I almost said his life for ire. No, that's the other one. His life for the Caprulu sector? For the Dominion, there we go. That's what I was looking for. God. I feel like I need to replay the StarCraft campaign. It's a good campaign. It's a good campaign. I'll get around to it one day. I don't think I've ever finished it on Brutal. I think that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I was with Oreo yesterday while we were watching Sea Duckling open, and we were going through all these different portraits, and I'm like, oh my, it's something that I'm not concerned with because I don't think I'm ever going to change my portrait, but like there's a lot there. There's a lot of content available if you're interested in that stuff with StarCraft. Like the single player side of StarCraft. So yeah. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Oh, speaking of thinking about it, we'll see if the openers differ a little bit. Once again, a SoldieR opening up with a Marine first, not a Reaper. So not too concerned with scouting across the map, being a little bit more gas efficient. And yeah, obviously there are pros and cons. If Elegacy was going to go for a big all-in, well, there's no Reaper to scout that. There's nothing to really confirm anything. But I don't think Elegacy is that kind of player. So in a way, SoldieR, he's kind of metagaming a little bit. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but because of how Elegacy plays, he doesn't have too much to worry about. Oh, but maybe I'm speaking too soon because Elegacy throws down a pylon. I love this. Okay, gateways are done, cybercore is done as well. We're gonna have a decent amount of, okay, we're gonna have a decent amount of gas. Second gateway gets thrown down. I imagine we're gonna see a third here across the map. No, we see a robo. Let's go. And I love this, right? We were just talking about it. Because there's no Reaper, SoldieR has no idea what's going on. He has no reason to be afraid. He has no reason to be concerned. And Elegacy is taking full advantage of him. Meanwhile, this Adept is going to deny a little bit of binding here. Being quite annoying even. Oh, doesn't kill a Marine. But these two SCVs weren't mining for quite some time. Same with this Mule. Meanwhile, the Robo's about to finish up. There is that gateway for reinforcements. Oh, 3 gates in total. And that Robo. And this is going to pack quite a punch, especially with an Immortal. Like, this bunker is not going to long for this world. I do think that it's going to be pretty easy for Elegacy to take control of the low ground. But pushing up into the main base can still be very difficult. But oh my god, SoldieR goes for a fast third TC. This is best case scenario for Elegacy. SoldieR is going for the most greedy opener possible. He's being a little bit safe with the Cyclone because the Cyclone will defend against like an Oracle that comes in, for example. He's even going to try and scout around a little bit. So the Cyclone does have some utility, but it's not going to be at home. Like it's zooming across the map right now. It's actually going to scout, maybe even catch a War Prism if he could, or again an Oracle. But like he doesn't have a lot at home. It looks like he'll have one tank. It's rallied to go to the low ground though, so it's going to be vulnerable to those Immortals. Elegacy's got a lot of potential. Here we go, he's pushing in. At the same time, SoldieR does check the mineral line. Boys are being pulled. He forces a warp in at home, but here we go. Finally, the Immortal reveals itself, and the bunker goes down immediately. The tank, can he get it? He's gonna try and focus it down, and he will get the tank, but at the same time, he gets surrounded by the SCVs. The boys are here, and the boys are dishing out so much damage. The Immortal is slowly falling, and it looks like the Cyclone is gonna be able to clean it up. Oh, but the second Immortal shows up. That's this should be it. There we go. The reinforcements surround the Cyclone. Everything goes down. What is there to defend? There isn't even another tank on the way. Liberator just started. The wall is not a wall. There's a massive gaping hole here on top of the ramp. There's nothing at the natural base. Elegacy can't waste too much time here at the natural. He's got to go into the main. He's got to go for the kill. Oh, and that's what he's slowly doing. He started stepping forward. He realizes, oh wait, hold on. There's nothing here. There's no wall. It's just wide open. He denies. Oh no, I almost said he denies stim. Stim did just finish, but what is he gonna stim? He's got like 6 Marines. That's it. That's all he's got. The boys are being pulled again, and you know they're dealing some efficient damage against the Immortals and the Stalkers, but there's just too many. There's too much damage. It's too much. Look at all the workers going down. Oh my god. 31 SCVs fall. Elegacy with a massive worker lead. He's going to try and reinforce with Adepts of all things, which I think is kind of smart because I think at the end of the day, he just wants to kill more SCVs. There's not much anti-air. War Prism goes straight into the main base. Gonna waste a little bit of DPS on those Marines, but there we go. Gets into that mineral line once again. At the same time, Liberator does get across the map. This was scattered by Elegacy, so he's got to be aware of this. He isn't supply blocked. He just needs to warp in at home. And there it is. Lib Siege is up, but we do have 2 Stalkers to help deal with this. Stalkers, please! Stalkers will deal with this. Elegacy defends at home. And he is still dealing damage across the map. Oh my god. Again, this was best case scenario. I do think that Elegacy could have been a little bit better with his warp-ins, with his reinforcements, and I think he probably could have ended the game if he had a little bit better focus fire and army control, prioritizing the tanks and the Marines first and then the SCVs, and making sure he didn't get surrounded by the workers like he did. But despite that, like, he's still in a beautiful position. War Prism does get picked off, which is a bit of a shame. So do all these Adepts. SoldieR is attempting to stabilize. What I will say is that SoldieR does have a 3rd CC. He does have triple mules available to him. So he can recover if given the opportunity. But now Elegacy, he can't let like this opportunity slip, right? He's got to take his gases. He's got to get into Robotics Bay. He's got to, you know, work on a Twilight Council. He needs to make sure he's not stuck on vanilla gateway units. And there we go. There is that Twilight Council. So he's going to be working on Charge. He's going to be working on Blink. At the moment, he is a little bit vulnerable. Like he doesn't have that much going on. I feel like these Immortals need to get back home. What are they? They're not doing anything across the map. I don't think we need to follow up kill. I think we need to tech up and macro up really for a Legacy. Get further and further ahead, right? Meanwhile, we do have a bit of a drop headed towards the bases. Again, Stim is done. Combat Shields is only halfway done at this point. And there is more than enough here to defend. Oh, but a couple of workers are going to go down. 4 probes. Not bad. Not bad. This is the beginning of the comeback here for SoldieR. He's still down in workers, but he is slowly closing that gap. The drop will scout the proxy. So now SoldieR is well aware. Again, if Elegacy isn't careful and if he's not on point with his recall, these Immortals could get picked off. He's got to be very careful with this. Oh boy. Meanwhile, you can tell he's a little bit nervous. Twilight Council was done for a while. Finally, Charge is on the way. Here comes the drop. I don't think this drop is going to be enough. Thankfully, there are no Stalkers here, so SoldieR can't really clean this up. But there we go. Elegacy recognizes how vulnerable this little army is, so he does turn around and come back home. As he works on his 4th base. Oh. And things are going to chill. Things are going to calm down here, which is understandable. Elegacy could have gone a couple of different ways with this. He could back off, expand more, and tech up, or he could have just worked on another follow-up all-in. I think either one would have worked. This is a little bit safer, though. Oh, as it looks like all of this is finally going to get shut down. And this bio army is still a little bit scary. A little bit. The problem with this bio army is that it only has 1 tank as its anchor point. Like, that's kind of the backbone of the army. A single tank. Because of that, like, we can see some drops, but I don't think we're going to see one strong committed push. If we do see one push come out from SoldieR, I think he's just going to lose the game. I want to say that he knows that, so he's going to, for the most part, stay at home. But I do think that he can accomplish things with drops, right? Like, he can get into mineral lines, he can force some multitasking from Elegacy. But here we go. Elegacy's had enough. He's moving out across the map. He doesn't have a War Prism. He just lost his Robo, so he's not going to be able to reinforce. But he's got a lot of Zealots. He's got those 2 Immortals. He's got to be careful. Like, he can't. If he throws away this army, SoldieR's back in this. I think he should have enough, though. We'll see, as half the army does approach the fire. The rest of the army does head towards that mineral line. He's going to try and deal with this, but all the Zealots are being cleaned up. This is what I was worried about. There we go. Every single Zealot goes down, and now the army can stim on forward, and Elegacy just threw away over 50 supply. Ay, ay, ay. This was unnecessary. Elegacy, por favor. He is setting Zealots in to harass into the mineral lines, but it's not worth it. Elegacy threw away 2 Immortals. He threw away like 15 Zealots and 10 Stalkers. He was up. He was looking so good. And he still has a good economy, don't get me wrong. But if SoldieR counterattacks now, I think he just wins. It's over. There's no splash damage. There's no Colossus, no Disruptor, no Storm, no Archons. Just a handful of Zealots and an Immortal, and it's just... Elegacy, you're looking so good. You're looking so good, man. But this is something that you learn with experience, right? You gotta know when to attack or when to calm down. The Zealots are gonna get a nice round on these Marines. Oh, yo, the Zealots are doing a lot of damage right now. And it looks like Elegacy is gonna hold on, but he just lost 16 workers. And now SoldieR, now he's the one who's ahead in workers. Like, now he has that economic advantage. In a way, everything that Elegacy had done up until this point, it's moot. It's a moot point. You know, it's done. He is getting into Archons, and that will help. Oh, God. But again, any kind of big lead that he had was thrown away. Now it's on SoldieR to recognize what's happening. Oh, he's already got Ghost. I was about to say he's got to recognize what's going on in the transition and work on that Ghost Academy. Ghost Academy is done. He's already got his first Ghost. He's got Kerrigan as a part of this army. And as long as the EMPs are half decent, like what is this gonna do? Ay, ay, ay. Elegacy, ¿por qué? It was looking so good. But shout out to SoldieR for being as formidable as he has been. Like, he's just been relentless. Like, despite all the damage he took early on, he was like, yeah, hey, I've got a 3rd CC. I can come back. I have triple mules. I have triple SCV production. And once I get my upgrades, like, I can make something work with my bio as well. And he just had to be patient like that. So very, very impressive here by SoldieR. There we go. He stims on forward. Doesn't need the EMP right now. The Archons are still at that 4th base, so looks like Elegacy is just completely giving this Nexus up. For the next fight, he will have these Archons, but there is an EMP available. We have a scan. SoldieR, he sees. He confirms the army. There we go. We have more Ghost in production. And unfortunately, the Templar Archives was exposed here at the 3rd as well. So no more High Templar, no more Archons. Legacy. Now he's going into DTs. DTs would have been a great follow-up after the initial all-in, honestly. The DTs would have been great. But it's only just now being thrown down. SoldieR's taking a 4th base. I love how like aggressive Elegacy is with his expansions, and that is keeping him in this. But he just doesn't have the tech, right? Like he can't make any more. He's just stuck with gateway units right now. And there is a place for gateway units, but oh my god, we see the triple scan again. I don't know how he does it, but SoldieR, every single time we triple scans like this, he misses the army. Every single time. He's like, where is it? I don't know. But yeah, he sieges up. He's up in supply. I don't see a world where Elegacy throws this. Like, maybe if he move commands, but even then, like, just like that, 3 Archons get taken out. We had a decent EMP. That's all you need. The army of Elegacy is going to try and surround from behind, but again, it's not coming in at the best time. Some DTs are dealing some damage, but we have EMPs. We even have a scan. We have more than enough energy for those, and just like that, GG, well played, SoldieR. He comes back in game 2, and he will close out the series 2-0. But Elegacy was so close. He was so close. So I want to give a shout out to Elegacy, you know. He's an amateur player, he's not a pro, but he almost took a game off of SoldieR. Almost. So Elegacy, if you're watching this, because I do know you pop up in the chat from time to time, less than 3. You almost did it, man. You almost did it. Like that would have been a highlight for your career. Congratulations to both of our players. For Elegacy for making that last game so close, and for SoldieR for again standing strong and being as resilient as he was.